I've been a troublemaker, I've been a late-night player. I've been broke, it's a joke, I've been a money maker. I've been a record breaker, taking credit as an educator. I've been known to spit the flows and make it shaky, shaky thing. Popping, locking, stopping, let it hang. Watch us as we drop this hip-hop, it's like it stings. We make a whole room drop and everybody sing. We want the funk, we gotta have that funk. We kick it old school, we think we're so cool. We take it back to the past, we gonna act a fool. Jump.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Sports Buzz, a fanatical view. I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here live in studio, Comcast Cable, Channel 23, downtown Danbury, Connecticut, on this March 14th. Felt a little spring-like out there today, as a matter of fact. So maybe we are turning the corner, snow melting, things thawing out. Was out without a jacket for a little while this afternoon. Not too bad. So hopefully.
Time change.
Yes, and we've had the time change, which is, got me all thrown off, that's for sure. But it is nice to have it light out later, and that is a good thing. And, we're just hoping maybe this weekend, St. Patrick's Day,
yes,
some little nice weather would be good, get out and about. St. Patrick's Day on, Sunday?
Sunday, yes.
But I'm sure people will start on Friday.
Yeah, it does. Usually your last 3 days.
Get a full weekend worth of St. Patrick's Day.
And then have a hell of a hangover on the day after.
Right. So we are live, though, and you can call in 203-792-4101. You've already heard the voice. Let's say officially hello to my right-hand man, Mr. Bob Rod Jr.
How are you, Scott?
I am doing fine, and look at this with the fancy graphics.
We have a nice graphic, at least to see what I look like.
Yeah, look at that. Got a camera in your hand. It's almost like we planned it. You're sitting behind the cameras, working the cameras here. Got a photo of you with a camera in hand for your graphic. David Suero, the old director, back from the dead.
Yes.
And he is doing things in the control room. Doing a great job.
Everything's being updated. We're
looking
into
good.
The new century.
Bob Show Spotlight on Tuesday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 12. You can see what he's got going on. And Tyler is here running the audio. We think the Met Jet Maniac will be here.
Yes, he will.
Sure, he will have a comment or two about some NFL wheelings and dealings this week.
I'll definitely have some insights too myself in a little bit.
You want to talk about your celebrity breakfast, Danbury Westerners.
Yes.
We mentioned it last week, but mention it again.
Mick the Quick.
Mickey Rivers, the legendary, was he center? Was he play center field?
Center field.
Yeah, he was a center fielder. His baseball card is on there. I'd have to turn my head sideways
Well, I
to
think
read
he also played short.
Outfield, it says on his baseball card there. Two-time World Series champion.
Yes.
And that is June 7th, 25th annual. Nice.
Yes. We have our silver anniversary.
That means they're going to have to put out some new shirts.
Yes, there will be.
We're going to have to dig out of the closet the old, because we got shirts from the other 20th and 15 and 10 and those. Oh, we're going to decorate the studio with those. That'll be good.
Maybe we'll have, maybe I can persuade the president of the Westerners to come in for a
little fireside chat.
Yeah.
Talking baseball. Yeah, we'd have him anytime. We had our, the guest here a few weeks ago, Kevin Gallagher. It worked out well. We don't mind bringing people down. Spring training, of course, is still going on. Some rule changes handed out today.
Yeah, I heard that already, and I'm going.
Some will go into effect this year, some next year. I thought the biggest thing really was the waiver wire trade window after the trade deadline has been eliminated.
Yeah, which
I think, I always wondered, why is there a trade deadline if for the next month everybody's trading people anyways?
Right, so what's the difference?
The point?
So what's the sense I really have in that deadline?
So that is out the window. I believe that one starts this year.
Right.
Some of the other ones are, they're still trying to speed up the game in between innings, getting shortened. 3 batter minimum for relievers. Yes. I think that doesn't start till next year, although you can get around that if you come in to face 1 batter at the end of half an inning.
Right.
So either you finish an inning or face 3 batters.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I know they want to speed up the game and all that, but I still am not sure that I like some of these moves.
I still have some things on the instant replay. You know, it's you know, that I think slows up the game too much.
Slows up the game a lot. Yeah, I don't really like the instant replay at all. I think it should mostly be for foul balls.
I mean, I could see if
home runs.
if it's a home run that's questionable. I could see that, but I can't.
All these plays at the bag, stolen bases,
Yes.
you know, guys sliding in.
I can see if somebody sliding in the third, and it's
I don't like it at all.
Score. I could see that in a way, but
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it myself. Remember last year, Bob, and what ended up leading them to the incredible season they had where they won all those games. The Red Sox got it going in spring training last year. We talked about it at the time. We don't
Right.
make too much of a big deal out of spring training, but when a team has a spring like the Sox had last year,
Right.
where they won like 14 out of the last 15, they won, they had a great record.
Right.
And they established a winning vibe in spring. This
Right.
year, they have now lost 7 in a row, 6-12 in spring.
So is that a
A
conclusion
little
of what
World
we're going to
Series
see for,
hangover, perhaps. They've already got their winning under their belt from last year, and not looking to establish the winning ways in spring training this year. A little
Right.
different. Not sure if I like that. Yankees 9-6, Mets 9-10.
So that might
We
be-
still got what, 2 weeks away? Because I
Yeah.
think the 28th.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks from today, that would mean, right? Is opening day on a Thursday?
I think so, but
Whatever happened to like the
usually
opening
always
day,
was
like
off-
on the one game on Sunday night and then opening on Monday?
Right.
They moved it up. I mean, all these leagues move everything up, so
I
that
mean, it used to
throws that
be-
whole thing off.
It used to be the games would start on a
Well,
Monday or
I
something.
think remember last year it opened on a Thursday too because the Red Sox blew
Right.
that 5-run lead in the 9th inning against the Rays.
I remember as a kid.
Our boy Tyler in there is sporting a Tampa Bay Rays hat today.
Right.
We should get him to bring all his hats in and put those out on the
Sure.
in the background one.
I
He's
mean,
got a lot of different hats.
When I was a kid, we always had season start on a Monday.
Right.
And
then when they started doing Sunday Night Baseball,
Right.
they brought in the standalone Sunday night game, and then everybody starts on Monday.
Right.
But now that I remember, because we lost our mind here because the game was finishing while we were live,
Right.
and all of a sudden the Red Sox were blowing the lead in game
yeah.
1. Didn't turn out to affect them down the road.
No, but still, it's like
It was
you
a
don't
bad
want to lose
first
opening.
day, especially by blowing a 5-run lead in the
yeah.
9th. Quarterfinals of the Champions League is set. The final legs of the round of 16 finished up yesterday and Tuesday, and the biggest turnout I think was Liverpool.
Yeah,
Well,
Liverpool.
actually, the big comeback, and there was some comebacks in the legs last week. Juventus was 0-2, lost at home too as well. And they had to go on the road and win 3-0, and they did that, as a matter of fact, at Atletico Madrid. So shocking performance there, and they got the hat trick from Ronaldo, who they signed in the offseason, stolen away from Real Madrid. And really, you have not heard Ronaldo's name mentioned all that much, even though Juventus is on top of their league. But he hasn't really, it doesn't seem like he's been standing out that much. The only time you've really heard his name is for bad reasons, as
Right.
the rape allegations from about 2009, and that has been brought back up. But he came up huge when they needed it,
Yeah.
as they lost that first leg of that against Atletico Madrid 0-2. And he came back with the hat trick, and of course he got it with the penalty kick. He makes hay all the time on the penalties, and they won it 3-0 to advance to the round of 8. So 8 teams left. 4, all the European League teams advanced. Tottenham, Man U, Man City, and Liverpool. Liverpool with the big surprise 3-1 victory at Bayern Munich.
Right.
After they went 0-0 in the first round of that. So they advanced. 2 German teams out, as Borussia Dortmund also had lost previously to Tottenham. And those two teams remain tied on top of the Bundesliga table, Bayern and Dortmund, as they're going down to the wire there. Barcelona advanced with their win over Lyon. Ajax and Porto, teams from the Netherlands and Portugal, are through as well, with Barcelona and Juventus and the 4 European teams. The draw for the quarterfinals is mañana. So tomorrow at noon, we will know who plays who in the final 8. So that'll be interesting. But there was a lot of comebacks.
Where's the
and some surprises.
Where's the main one?
The final is in Atletico Madrid, as a matter of fact, the team that just lost to Juventus. So the final will be held in Madrid at the home of Atletico. And it's still a little ways out before we get there. But that's what's going on there in the Champions League. So NFL, Bob, this week kind of blew up, and it blew up fast. I mean, Antonio Brown getting shipped out to Oakland was the first shoe to drop. And then maybe with that in mind, the Giants decided they didn't want to deal with this headache. We might as well get something back and just get rid of him now.
3-round picks for him, so
all of a sudden, Odell Beckham Jr.
is gone.
He's going to take that urinating dog TD celebration to the dog pound.
Yeah.
And he's in Cleveland with Baker Mayfield and former college teammate Jarvis Landry. Those two were teammates. Where was that, at LSU?
Yeah, LSU, I believe.
At LSU, I think, right? So he gets to join up there. I mean, we heard the grumbling started to pick up again this week, but I didn't really think he was actually going to get traded this year. It seemed like...
Well, you know, I've heard a lot of stuff.
Yeah, let's cede the floor to Bob. What do you think? You're the Giants fan, Bob. You tell me.
I think it's great because we don't have to worry about having all this controversy, and there was a lot of controversy with the Giants this year, and especially with him.
So, I mean, you know, of course, he doesn't stay on the field, for one, which he didn't do this year. I remember when he was on the field this year, a game when they were trying to salvage their season. How did he do on the hands team for that onside kick? Remember that play this year? Where he did not recover the onside kick. He totally shot away from the ball.
Yep.
And I forget who they were playing, recovered the onside kick. But, I mean, just little things like that have always been his way. You know, and I've talked to you about this. I would prefer a guy who gets 8 to 10 catches a game.
Yeah, me too.
Keeps the chains moving on drives than a guy who gets, you know, occasionally the big standout play where he catches, you know, 2 passes, one goes for 70 yards and a touchdown, but you don't do that every game.
No.
Like, how many catches per game do you think he averaged?
2, 3, maybe.
I mean, probably you'd say 4.
I mean, that really were, you know, ones that, if any.
He's not a Julian Edelman type, a guy who's going to get you big third down catches, keep the chains moving, keep the defense on the side of the field because you're keeping your chains moving in the offense, long drives. I mean, the only thing he did was come up with the occasional big game-breaking play. Sometimes he would blow up a game with a big catch and run, but he was not a possession receiver. Like, I was always surprised when I would go and look at box scores and say he only had 2 catches.
Right.
You know, 3 catches in the game.
Right. It was not a. Let's put it this way. Hopefully next year the season starts off with on a higher note. We don't want to start out 0-6.
You think the Giants think this is addition by subtraction?
Yeah.
I think they do. I mean, I think
let's put it this
some
way.
of the media types have been saying, you know.
I mean, let's put it this way. Eli needs to get his act together too.
Well, I would like to see them get a different quarterback, but
you know, well, hey, Eli's getting them into that gray area too soon.
I don't know how this works though, Bob, because they are taking a big cap hit, even though they traded him away. I think they have a $16 million cap hit for Beckham, even though he's gone. So that is not actually good. But they should have some room to go out and sign some mid-level receivers that are available. And they got draft picks, 6 and 17 in the first round, and other additional picks down the road or down the further down the draft. I think the Giants feel like, you know, some people want to say this is it, blow it up, go rebuilding completely with this trade signals that. But I think they got rid of a headache.
Yeah,
they got rid of a guy they can't trust.
They got rid of a headache that will hopefully, will at least have some better.
The one year they did make the playoffs, Bob, how did he do with that?
Even there was questionable.
Yeah, he decided to take the bunch of his teammates down to that Miami boat ride.
Right. And they all got.
They came back, and the first possession of the game, he drops a pass from Manning. He ends up dropping a crucial, what would have been a touchdown pass from Manning in that game against Green Bay, and they lose that game. Not a good look.
No.
Taking the guys all down to on a boat ride as they get ready for the big game against Green Bay on the road.
Speaking of Green Bay, they picked up like 5 or 6 players.
A lot of guys moving and wheeling and dealing. A lot of teams picking up players. Green Bay, of course, is going to try to get back to the playoffs themselves, as they were a big letdown last year. And so the Giants stole the thunder, really, from the Jets.
Right.
Maybe they did it because of that.
I didn't see the Jets sign anybody, did you?
Le'Veon Bell.
I mean, like I said, that.
Like he said, spoken like a true Giant fan. Where's our man Mike Maniac? I've been stalling, hoping he would show up.
Well, hopefully we'll hear a bell soon.
They ring the bell. So Le'Veon Bell, who sits out all of last year,
right?
Do we think that it's going to affect his play this year? He's another guy who has a hard time staying on the field.
Yeah, too.
How many times did he miss the playoffs for the Steelers because he blew out a hamstring, or he got busted for toking it up with his former teammate there, LeGarrette Blount?
Right. So we'll have to wait and see how. We'll wait and see how. Well, let's
He's
put it this
another
way.
head case, but I mean, it is certainly a talent upgrade there.
What about your Patriots? They do anything?
They brought in the Michael Bennett, right? The big pass rusher, former of the Legion of Boom Seattle Seahawks, was with the Eagles last year. So they go out and get a big-time pass rusher. They had his brother, Martellus Bennett, at tight end for a couple of their Super Bowl runs. So I'm sure Martellus told his brother that they do things right up there in New England. So he's going to fit right in. They let a couple guys go. Trey Flowers went to the Lions, and one of their linemen, I think, went to the Raiders.
And Brady has no intentions of retiring anytime soon.
They got to sign. They signed a couple of receivers today. No big names yet. They're looking at Golden Tate, though, possibly. But Josh Gordon is most likely going to be back.
Right.
Which I don't necessarily mind a full season. I think overall they liked him as a teammate.
Right.
He came in, he learned the playbook. He has the off-field problems, the substance abuse problems. But I think it's a good sign that they said good things about him after the suspension and they stood behind him. So I think they're hopeful he's still, even though he had the setback, is actually on the right track.
Right.
So he might be back, but hey, who knows? They won their Super Bowl.
That's all that counts,
right?
That's all that counts.
Brady will be there and Belichick will be there. NHL, we gave the short shift to, so I just want to go through the standings real quick before I jump into some college basketball. Bruins' 19-game point streak did end. They've lost 2 in a row now. They lost to the Penguins. Never good when you do that.
No.
I hate it when that happens. Second in the Atlantic with 93 points. Tampa Bay remains the class of all of the NHL, not just the Atlantic, with 110 points. The Bruins actually are second overall, or third overall. San Jose has the second most points in all of the NHL. Toronto is at 89 in third place in the Atlantic. The Metro sees the Caps and the Islanders at 89 and 87, and Penguins quietly moving up the ladder at 85.
The Mets Maniac is here.
All right, we'll get him in here. We got a mic out here ready for him if he wants to walk in.
Mike, tell Mike, come on out.
We'll get a talk. We'll see what he says about Bell. Wild card has Carolina at 83 and Columbus at 81. Montreal tied with Columbus at 81. Flyers at 76. Teams missing the boat in the East: Florida, Buffalo, your Rangers, Devils, Detroit, and Ottawa. How's that working out for Detroit since they got moved from the Western Conference to the Eastern Conference, Bob? They made it like in their first 2 years as an 8 seed and a 7 seed, I think.
Yes.
They did not make the playoffs last year,
No,
and
they
here
did
they're going to
not.
miss again. I don't think Titletown USA is overall happy with this move to the East.
No, I don't
Just
think it
my
was.
opinion. I
doesn't
thought it was a bad move
To me, it
overall.
doesn't make sense.
No, they got all the rivalries out west.
Right. Why would you move them to
Not a
the
historic
East when
team
they're-
like this.
That's a central team. It's not a.
So in the Western Conference, in the Pacific has the better conference this year right now. San Jose, 94 points, tops in the West. Calgary, 93. Vegas
Yeah, what's-
slipped a little bit, but they're still third, and they are in the playoffs at 81 points.
Oh, hey, with the season they had last year.
You're right. And another team 2 years ago that went to the final, Nashville, is in the playoff picture in the Central at 83. Winnipeg, the Jets are the top seed right now at 84. St. Louis, 79. Wild card has Dallas, 77. Arizona, 75. The two wild cards, Minnesota just outside that, 74. Colorado, 72. Chicago has moved all the way up to 71. Remember, they fired their coach early
Right.
in the year. So, and the teams that are outside looking in right now, Edmonton, Vancouver, Anaheim, and LA. LA has fallen far out, 58 points. The Kings, winners of 3 cups. All right, Maniac is here. We do want to get to college basketball and NBA a little bit,
what'd you
but
think
we
of the
do got to
Jets,
let him speak about. Did you hear what Bob said after I said the Giants stole the Thunder by trading Odell Beckham? And he said, well, the Jets didn't really sign anybody, did they? And I said, Le'Veon Bell. He said, like I said.
Well, I guess Bob has been in the sun a little too long, Scott. I mean, when you look at it, they had to make that move because when you look at their offense, they don't have a guy that you really have to game plan for. Bell
Yep.
is a guy you have to game plan for.
But
Yep.
he set the season out last year.
Right.
How is that going to affect him? I mean, sitting out a full season, I mean,
Yeah,
it
so
takes
is that
wear
gonna
and tear
affect
off
him?
his legs.
A lot or no?
I think it might help him in the fact that he allowed his body actually to get healthy.
Because he has had some injury problems too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know hamstring problems, but has he also had an ACL?
You know what? That I don't know. But
So,
remember,
I mean,
you
but
know,
it's a big move, and they also get a good defensive player, C.J. Mosley from the Ravens.
Tremendous
That
pickup.
move with the guy from Minnesota fell through. They picked up some other players as well, but bringing in Mosley is a pretty big move. I'm still not convinced that Adam Gase is the right choice there.
you're right. I agree
So
with
we
you.
still have to wait and see how that goes. But second year with your quarterback, you got to feel good about him, I think,
Absolutely.
going
And,
forward, settling in a little bit more, and the coaching change. So the Jets do get involved in making some big moves, and Le'Veon Bell, of course, is a big move. So I figured you'd be happy about that.
Absolutely.
All right, college basketball, 12 teams do have automatic bids already in place, as the selection show will be this Sunday on St. Patrick's Day, as a matter of fact. Murray State, Gardner-Webb, Bradley, Liberty, Wofford, which is in the top 20 team, as a matter of fact, one of these small teams, so they would have probably been in anyways at 29-4. Iona, St. Mary's kind of messed things up maybe with stealing an automatic bid from Gonzaga. Obviously is ranked number 1 in the country. They ended their 21-game winning streak with that win, and I don't know if St. Mary's was going to get in or not, so they might have stole a bid from somebody.
They may have been on that,
They sometimes get in, but I don't think they were going to get in this year. Fairleigh Dickinson, North Dakota State, who's made some big noise in recent years. They're in again. Northeastern, Northern Kentucky, and Colgate. I don't know if anybody earned anything this afternoon. A whole bunch of games going on, including UConn, led by Jalen Adams, who came back from that injury. He said he was going to try to make it back. This is his senior year. And he did, as a matter of fact, make it back. He played on Sunday, got them a win, and he played today. 80-73 winners over UCF. Christian Vitale scored 25 points. He had 19. They do place the number 1 seed and number 11 in the country, Houston, tomorrow. These games are being played in Memphis, not in Hartford, as they have been played sometimes, though AAC tournament games have been in recent years. But they play Houston tomorrow, so they've got to win to get in. I don't even know if they're going to be good enough to make the NIT if they don't. So this could be it for them.
Next week?
I don't know when the brackets. Everything starts next week as they wrap up all the big tournaments. And the Lady Huskies, we did see a couple pictures there, won their 6th straight AAC title. So hats off to the Lady Huskies for doing that. They've won every year since the AAC started. They've brought down the trophy. They do have some injured players, which you got to keep your eye on as the March Madness begins. We'll see where they end up. If they're number 1 seed, I think maybe they would be, but they did lose a couple games this year.
Yeah, they lost like 2 or 3 games this year,
yeah,
which is really
so we got to see what happens with them.
But
Zion Williamson is back for Duke, so we'll see how that affects Duke as they held him out after that injury, but he is back. NBA picture, Celtics did win 3 out of 4 on the road trip.
after having
A bad slump they were in, but they finished after beating up on the Lakers, the fake show. They did get crushed 140 to 125 to the Clippers. I mean, we talked about it earlier this year. There has been a lot of high-scoring games, and that was one. A lot of people making excuses for Bron in the fake show, saying that if he didn't get hurt, they would have made the playoffs. I'm going to break down the numbers for you right here, right now, Bob.
Okay.
You tell me what you think, and Mike, you can chime in as well.
Okay.
Lakers currently 31-36. They went 6-11 without Bron when he sat out the injury.
Right.
They were 21-14 before the injury. What have they gone since he's come back?
Nothing.
4-11. So, after the injury at 6-11 without him, they were still 27-25. They're 31-36 now. They were 6-11 without him, 4-11 since he's been back. All the people saying if he didn't get hurt, they would have made the playoffs are not conveniently not mentioning the fact that they're 4-11 since he's been back. Those are the numbers.
Yeah.
You can think whatever you want. We mentioned it last week.
If
you add up all the times that Larry and Dr. J and Magic and Michael missed the playoffs, you would still get 0 times combined. Bron, the self-proclaimed GOAT, said it himself this year. I am the greatest of all time.
So does that mean next year he wants to be traded to another team?
The Celtics are still 2 back of getting home field or home court as they're behind the Sixers and Pacers who are tied.
Hope you don't have him where he ends up in the Celtics or something. You'd have to really.
I would quit the game. At that point, we would announce my retirement from talking sports on the air.
Okay, we live next week?
Next week, yes. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody, and we'll see what else happens as more crazy things come down each week, it seems like. Take care.